Hello, hello, geodesy lover. We are going now to discuss a interesting problem. We try to answer the question. The question is, can we position in WGS84? It is interesting because it is customary to see software suites, processing software suites, with indication of coordinates will be in WGS84. Even though the coordinates are not, as we're going to discuss, are not really in WGS84. So WGS84 would be meaning that the coordinates are within a how to call Earth-centered, Earth-fixed coordinate. That would be a nickname for a conventional terrestrial system. Geocentric. That's usually what we have when we deal with satellite positioning, but not necessarily WGS84. Anyway, let's go and have a discussion, and let's see if these things become clear. Can we position in WGS84? Let us first go to the middle of the slide, to this portion here, to define a general rule. When we are in absolute positioning, meaning we're just one receiver, okay, one receiver working independently, the frame of the coordinates is defined by the frame of the orbits. That's very important. When we are in relative positioning, which means we are positioning ourselves with respect to a known point or a known station, the frame is defined by the frame, the frame of the coordinates is defined by the frame of the known points. So let's start with that because this is very important. Now let's start here. So can we position WGS84? The only way to obtain coordinates in WGS84 is by using the GPS broadcast orbits. Okay, and well, we'll be doing these basically when we do point positioning, just a navigation solution. We are using pseudo range. We may be using some correction, some WAS correction, but basically we are doing absolute positioning. We are navigating. Therefore, the frame of the coordinates is defined by the frame of the orbits. What orbits? GPS broadcast orbits. What are the accuracy of the GPS broadcast orbits? It's not now the accuracy of the frame. What is the accuracy of the broadcast orbits? Well, meter or larger. Okay. So 1 meter, 2 meters. So that's why we can really cannot say that in this situation we have coordinates that would be better than a meter. They're going to be at meter level or larger. I usually would say 5 meters just to be on the safe side. Now, if one desires coordinates of a point in WGS84 better than the meter, decimeter, centimeter, millimeter, what should we do? Okay, well, we have to be connected to a geodata network, either active or passive. Okay, or which means we're doing relative positioning or we're doing precise point positioning. And again, we have now the statement that we just made, the first statement, and therefore we can say that in precise point positioning, this is absolute positioning, we are using what? We use the orbits of the IGS. Okay, So we have seen the orbits of the IGS are really in the ITRF, but these orbits, again, it's not the frame, it's the accuracy of the orbits. The accuracy of the orbits is what? Is a few centimeters, decimeter. Okay? And in relative positioning, what we need to do is to connect to a known point. What is the coordinates of the known point? Well, what are the coordinates we have available? They're going to be ITRF or they're going to be N8083. Okay, well, in Canada, they're going to be N8083, CSRS. Okay, and we have to be careful with the epoch here, with the reference epoch, because provinces use different reference epoch. And I mentioned about the software TRX. It's quite useful in this regard. Anyway, there is no network of points with coordinates in WGS84. There's simply none, because if there are, they use GPS broadcast orbits. They're not at this level of accuracy that we want. Okay, so therefore the answer is the only time we really are in WGS84 with several meters of uncertainty is when we are doing navigation solution. So again, if we have a package that is telling us that we're going to you'll be adjusting a network that was observed with GPS receivers, and the results are going to be in a WGS84 coordinate, that is really wrong. We should understand that, and you should understand that what the lazy guys who wrote this software, what they mean is that the coordinates are a geocentric coordinate system. Okay, it's compatible. So it's actually going to be whatever we are doing in the sense of relative positioning, the frame of the known points. Here's a summary. WGS84 the frame is defined by the GPS broadcast orbits. The only access we have to WGS84 is through the broadcast orbits, because we don't have access to station coordinates determined with high accuracy in WGS84. And we will allow point positioning with accuracy around meter or worse. The point position here is the absolute position, the navigation solution. Now, with respect to ITRF slash N8083, N8083 is the national frame and is connected to ITRF, as we discussed before. The access to N8083 is through the geodetic networks, the Canadian Active Control System, the CBN stations, the provincial high precision network points, or their densification, or if in PPP, using the IGS type orbits. What does it allow us to do? It allows relative positioning, RTK, DGPS, if the base station has coordinates in those frames, and precise point positioning, if we are using, of course, these IGS type orbits, with accuracy of a few centimeters or better. Here's just a diagram. Here on the left, we have the absolute positioning, and then we know that what's defined in the frame is the orbits. Okay, so the quality of the orbits here, we can, if you use WGS84 broadcast orbits, we are going to get a few meters here. We could be using IGS type of orbits and clocks that people refer to precise orbits, use that in quotes. Because the GPS orbits are precise, the precision is at 2 meters, and the IGS precision is at, well, decimeter, centimeter. So we should say that PPP is precise point position that uses more precise orbits and clocks. So here we have the situation here in absolute positioning. Here is relative positioning, and who is defined the frame is the frame of the relative point. So how can we access ITRF 8083? We can use observation collected by a single receiver. If we'll be at this 5 centimeter level, well, sorry, 5 meter level, 5 meter level, that's what I usually say. At this level, of course, the uncertainty of that of 5 meters, WGS84, is coinciding with ITRF. Again, this is not the quality of the frame. We discussed before that WGS84, the more current frame, okay, the latest realization is compatible to the ITRF at the 10 centimeters level. But the problem is the quality of the orbit. We use observations collected by any active control station to have access to ITRF 8083. We can occupy a point belonging to a passive network using a relative positioning technique, use corrections computed from base stations, or use PPP individually or a PPP service. Here's a diagram just indicating the WGS84 satellite broadcast orbits, the uncertainty 5 meters. And now we have the same diagram, but indicating that we're using IGS orbits and clocks. So the uncertainty now, and we use also carrier phase, the uncertainty is of course at the centimeter level. Relative positioning. We have, of course, these two receivers observing the same satellite simultaneously. Here, geodetic receiver, the coordinates come from a data bank, for example, and here the geodetic receiver, a known point, and of course, the coordinates will be sharing the same frame. We may have densification that is done directly from, example, the Canadian active control system. We can get the observations and use them, and we can densify so bring a point around the region that we want to do a survey. This point could be serve as an RTK station for a nearby survey, or we could basically establish some control points directly from the Canadian active control system. So in this case, again, we are dealing with coordinates in the ITRF/NED83 frames. DGPS and RTK positioning. This is the other thing that also, this is relative positioning in the sense that we are involved in a base station, and we have, of course, DGPS, pseudo-range corrections. We are going to get, again, meter, decimeter level here. RTK, of course, we are now dealing with carrier phase, so that should be at the centimeter level, and precise post-process kinematic, which also is when these now the rover in all these three situations may be moving. Okay. And of course, terrestrial methods. This is useful. Again, we are not going to have these coordinates in WGS84. Imagine that we want to determine coordinates of points that are undercover, so we cannot use a GPS receiver. So, but we could have these points here that would serve as the starting and closing for a traverse, for example. So in this case, we have basically latitude, long, and height of these points, latitude, long, and height that we can transform to mapping and make the adjustment of this traverse using mapping coordinates, or it could basically determine everything in geodetic coordinates it doesn't matter. But all of that is going to be related to the frame that was defined by these known stations here. We're going to discuss this type of use of terrestrial method in our chapter 3. Okay, now this is just a table that I find it's interesting because it shows case the different levels of accuracy, and I'm conservative with these. Absolute positioning, I'm putting 10 meters here. These will be pseudo range. Relative positioning at the centimeter level, using single frequency ionospheric model being used in the processing. Relative positioning using dual frequency receiver or triple frequency receiver. That goes to the millimeter level. We have RTK that would provide us with a centimeter level. PPK, this is post-process kinematic, that depending on the dynamics of the vessel, we can have between centimeter to decimeter level. RTK using N-trip, this is for real time. RTK here is using radio. RTK here, N-trip means transmission through the internet. There is some latency, and we may expect slightly worse accuracy. DGPS, 1 meter precise point positioning for static positioning at the millimeter level. Precise point positioning in kinematic mode. We should be more careful with that. Decimeter level, I think it's reasonable. Precise point positioning using single frequency receiver ionospheric model being used in processing half a meter. Terrestrial methods, we have here the traverses, and one extra thing here, the data banks. I put data banks here just to highlight the importance. We are talking here about uncertainty associated with these techniques, and the data banks, we usually are going to have just the coordinates, a list of coordinates. The only way we are going to know about the quality of the coordinates in a data bank if they have standard deviations associated with. So what I usually say is never trust a data bank that does not contain the uncertainties of the coordinates. Okay, because either they're bad, or the person that built the data bank was not careful enough or to write down the standard deviations, which means that this person didn't thought that standard deviations were important. So these are comments about the previous slide. I will leave here. You can pause and read. And in summary, coordinates in WGS84, the frame themselves, the frame is defined by the broadcast orbits, and so the frame will be WGS84. When we do precise point positioning using IGS orbits, or when we connect to a network with reference stations, we're not going to be doing positioning WGS84. We're positioning based on the frame of the IGS orbits, which is ITRF, or we position the frame of the reference station, okay, even independent on the orbit we're using. Okay, who defines the frame in a reference positioning is the reference station. Relative positioning is the reference station. And the coordinates in ITRF or NAD83 CSRS. Just be careful here. The NAD83 CSRS, I think I mentioned already, that the epochs, okay, that is the epoch. The epochs may vary from provinces depending on when each province adopted the Canadian Spatial Reference System. Okay, just be careful with that. Farewell.